exactly.
across the
What do you
board.
mean by that?
I mean that Joe Biden is a controlled asset of the Chinese Communist Party, and that he is seeking to take down this country in furtherance of their design for world hegemony, and wrecking America with domestic and foreign policies
Yes.
to the benefit of the CCP is what he's
Exactly.
doing.
And they create a disaster in the Middle East.
Oh.
If you see what's happening
It's about
with
to
Saudi
be-
Arabia going
It's
to
about to be,
Beijing.
well, that's,
Yes.
it's the war that's coming
Yes.
in the Middle East that's particularly worrying
Yes.
to me.
And they want to topple Netanyahu.
Absolutely.
But how can there be a war in the Middle East if someone has the Israeli government tied up with a revolt, a public revolt and movement that could be like,
Other people can start the war.
yeah, what?
They can attack Israel.
Yes.
That's what's coming. Israel, I mean, it has a history of preemption, but I think at the moment they are in sufficiently distracted state. that
Yes,
I'm not
exactly,
sure that-
exactly.
I'm not sure they will. So the other guys get a first shot. And as the Ayatollah has said,
Yes.
it is a one nuke
They
country.
prepare for the war. I think that the Biden administration is ready to accept that Iran get nukes.
They have.
Yes.
No, it's
They have
a threshold nation.
Yes, exactly.
It's okay.
They can.
The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff has said it's okay
Yeah.
if they're a threshold nation.
Yes, exactly.
What does that mean?
Well, it's bullshit, is what it means. It's making I think, a false characterization that a country that has everything it needs to have nuclear
Yes.
weapons won't, just
They
because
can make-
somehow we'll
They can
treat
make
them better.
a bomb immediately. They have all the elements.
They've done it. Give me a break. They've got to have done it by now.
Look, you think that
what
they did it?
Look, I'm fond of pointing out that the United States took 3 years to go from inventing the idea of nuclear weapons or atomic weapons, at least, to dropping them on Japan. These guys have been beavering away at it for 40 years. And everybody agrees now that they have enough enriched uranium to put in nuclear weapons. So what do you mean? They're not going to actually have them?
Yes.
I think they're full on.
Yes.
But is the plan to nuclear disarm the Middle East? That if Iran has it, then Israel would have to give up theirs?
Israel is
the
trying
plan
to-
is to destroy Israel, and then destroy as much of us as they can as well. But look, the Ayatollahs have been saying it for 40 years.
Yeah.
You know, death to America,
Yes.
death to Israel.
Yeah.
They mean it.
And Israel is trying to speak to China to be protected by China.
Well,
So
that's
the Middle East could
that's
become
a nice
Chinese.
touch. But they're trying to bring about Armageddon.
Yes,
You know, with Prof. Imam business.
yes.
So it's not a happy prospect, but I think they are at any point able to attack Israel and or us. And
They will not attack directly.
the worse
They
the
will
better.
use Hamas and they will use Hezbollah.
well, that's an option. I mean, they've got 150,000 rockets and missiles in
Yeah.
Lebanon now.
Yes.
So that can be done. But I think they actually want to use a nuclear weapon. I think that they've set this up for that purpose. And,
But it doesn't
and
Israel have
if
those?
you can't deter them because they think that this will usher in the golden age of Islam,
Yes, exactly.
then it's not clear how you can keep it from happening other than, preempting.
You don't think that China could deter them?
Why would they?
I don't think so. I think that China obviously can exercise some influence on them, but I think that they, at the end of the day, this is about Allah. So I think that's an override on the temporary arrangement with the Chinese Communist Party.
With the U.S., or shall we say, with the...
Are we running all
yeah.
this time?
Yeah, would the Democrat administration back Israel in that conflagration?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
And that's the point. I mean, they're signaling that at every turn now. And if that's the case, it makes just that much more likely that these guys will go for
Yes.
it.
I think that in such a case, Biden would say, we disagree, it's really bad, but they wouldn't do anything.
Well, the real question is not will they do anything to help Israel, it's will they do things to help the Iranians. And that's my concern, is that they would actually
Washington
interfere with anything the Israelis would decide they have to do. Yeah.
You think that they could help Iran?
Well, help in the sense of trying to interfere with the Israeli attack.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Or at least give warning
Yes.
that it's coming.
Yeah.
Or otherwise try to,
Yes.
make it more difficult.
You have articles about that published in Israel,
Oh, yeah.
and many people are afraid of that.
Look, when Biden came in and hired Obama's people to staff his Iran policy,
Yeah.
it was basically a flashing green light
Yeah.
that they are going to be helping the Iranians, undermining the Israelis. And they played ball with the previous government of Israel, which was terrible. But when they couldn't prevent Netanyahu from getting elected,
They decided to
came
try
off.
to topple him.
the gloves came off. Absolutely. I mean, literally, actually putting money into organizations
Yeah.
explicitly seeking the overthrow of the Israeli government.
Yeah. Yeah. How about the Pentagon? How close are the policymakers with the underdog in this case?
I think that this administration and the previous 2 terms of Obama have achieved a transformation of the military leadership that is now going to be absolutely aligned with whatever the Biden team directs. And this isn't about civilian control so much as about being enthusiastically in favor of Biden's policies.
Yes.
And you look at all this woke business and the purges and the mandatory jabs and all the rest, it has been a wrecking operation in the United States military as well.
I agree.
The fundamental transformation that Obama talked about on the eve of his first election as president has now come home with a vengeance to the U.S. military.
Exactly.
Is there an understanding of this among the press in Washington? Even the Washington Times?
I don't know how to characterize the press in Washington at this point. They seem to be so much enthralled with the administration on the left, ignorant of real national security issues, compromised by the Chinese Communist Party, and basically indifferent to the sorts of things that we've been talking about at this conference, for sure. There are some exceptions, obviously, but the mainstream media, that's pretty much, I think, the case pretty uniformly, and it's terrifying because, it's not
I think
playing
that
the
they
kind
are
of
in
role
a
that it
state of
needs to.
self-inflicted blindness.
Willful blindness, we call it.
Yeah.
I think to some extent that's right.
So, what would happen if Israel were to act in defiance of what the U.S. required of them, and then the leftist media depicted Israel as the renegade, as the maverick, and then American Christian and Jewish support for Israel would then be deemed what
Domestic terrorism.
I know maybe AIPAC may not be thinking about this, but Ginza must be.
I think even AIPAC probably is, far from their moorings as they've gotten, is probably pretty uncomfortable with what's happening at the moment. And look, I think that this administration is making no bones about finding anybody who disagrees with its policies on any score as a domestic terrorist or a potential violent extremist or whatever else they want to
Anti-American, dual loyalist.
Well, in the case of Israel, that's baked into the sort of
Not Chinese.
anti-Semitic tropes. But I think that this particular issue is one in which they will look at any effort by Israel or any effort by friends of Israel to protect Israel's security when the government of Israel feels that it has to act as the end of the U.S.-Israel special relationship and as an instance in which people who disagree with it are going to be considered suspect.
Yes. I think that they treat Israel like an enemy right now.
Well, they're certainly not friendly to it.
No.
That's for sure. And that's part of what's so concerning.
And they accept the way people like Yair Lapid and Ehud Barak speaks, and they are very violent in the way they speak. And
coups?
Yeah.
Talking about assassinating the prime minister.
Yes, exactly.
And that's the thing. I mean, I don't think we've done a series of webinars on this subject and briefings and so on, and I think most Americans haven't any clue.
No.
About how really
Yes,
virulently hostile.
In the mainstream media here, it's like in Europe. They say Netanyahu wants to destroy democracy in Israel. Netanyahu is bad, and the people protest because they want to protect democracy.
Right.
So many people think that that's what's happening.
No, this is a scandal.
Yes,
Absolute
exactly.
Scandal that we're so ignorant and they're exploiting it so successfully. Anyway, I'm going to go have something to drink.
Okay.
Thank you, Butte.
Thank you.
It's great to talk with you. Thank you.